Hey everyone, I have here what is evidently the one and only set that LEGO decided to make for the Black Widow movie. It is Black Widow's helicopter chase. Now, for the sake of expectation setting, I want you to keep in mind as you look at this set with me, this is a 271 piece assembly. 271 pieces is not a lot. I'm not trying to make excuses for the thing in advance, just, like I said, just setting expectations. The set comes with the helicopter, motorcycle, 3 minifigures, and whatever this is. The helicopter is not bad. It kind of looks, though, like the designer was looking at a Sea Knight for the first week they were working on the build and then switched over to looking at a Chinook and just kind of hybridized those two together. Most of it is Sea Knight, I would say, with just a little bit of the influence along the sides and with the engines for the larger craft. But this is a pretty decent sized aircraft for the size of the set. And it even has that Sea Knight style of upward angle to the front. You can't really see it from this angle here, but it's got the tricycle landing gear. You can spin these up very easily. The rotors, they have these nice just knobs on the top that make it very convenient. Extraordinarily convenient, in fact. And these do rotate extraordinarily freely, much more freely than rotors even typically do, which is, not that big of a deal to talk about much, but I will show you why that is. That actually is somewhat significant with a very new building technique that I completely did not expect. But, just overall, it looks like a helicopter, right? And it looks like it probably should have quite a bit of space. There aren't as many windows on the sides as you might expect if it was to be carrying a bunch of passengers, but it does look like it should be carrying some cargo. There are a couple of stud shooters on either side, plus something that looks like it would also be a cannon of some sort just above, so you can either imagine or actually shoot or do both between them. So a pair of stud shooters there and the exact same thing on the other side. It's basically symmetrical from one side to the other with the exception of this, is it an antenna or is it a refueling probe? Probably doesn't stick out far enough to be a refueling probe, but you could rearrange it just a little bit. Got that one offset light as well. And just generally, it's looking decently respectable from the outside. Getting to the interior, this pops off with the engine up there with it. And inside there's space just to put a single pilot right there in the lowest spot. They get a couple controls in front of them and a stickered console piece on either side. Those stickers look pretty good and pretty appropriate for what they're supposed to be. There's not enough room to put a second figure back here. There's just not enough headroom, but you can put a little bit of cargo there. That's actually relevant. I'll show you one piece of cargo that comes with this that would fit there quite nicely. But you don't have to stick things there because there's this fingernail nick right here that makes it very easy to pry off a lot more of the roof section to give you access to a pretty large amount of usable space for cargo in there. I have complained many times about many LEGO helicopters of decent size that have been made in the past 10 years or so that just didn't give you that kind of space. Like, the exterior size can be huge. Some of them 8 studs wide, even 10 studs wide. But then the interior space will be like 4 or 2 or something like that, and not this long. So that's good. And I have a random minifigure here just to show you how, if you wanted to carry passengers rather than cargo, that's how you would sit them. And there is enough headroom there, plenty. So, you can put a good number of figures in there and they're still accessible. You just grab them right there. Not too fancy or anything, but a lot better than filling up the space with gears and things that are just going to spin the rotors and not be that impressive, or maybe run a winch. Like, how much space do you need for a winch? This is nice here how they contoured the ramp at the back. I wish that was in black, and I guess this is okay, but yeah, it could have been hidden away a little bit more. There are some gaps in there, but it's not bad. This opens up, and yeah, there's not a lot of room to get in there, but there is a way to get in there. So yeah, gives you some access, gives you access to a little bit more space where you can put something closer to the rear. You see that gap right there is kind of large. I think that could be filled up with some custom work. But as I get back to here, let me go ahead and show you the thing about this that I wanted to show you, how this is built up, how there's space there. You see that yellow piece? How could that be done? It could be done with a brick, but then there's not enough space here, not enough clearance for whatever is rotating. It could be done with panel pieces, 1x2 panel pieces. That's usually what they would do, but instead, that is clever. Just a nice part usage, NPU, right there. Yeah, that's a gift box piece. And just gives a little space for something to fit. I like that so much. You know, a surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one. The front is done exactly the same. There you go. The perfectly appropriate bit of cargo is this crate, which just has some stolen merchandise inside. A couple of silver bars. Maybe it's supposed to be some special, you know, Marvel metal or something. And then a diamond, which maybe it's not a diamond. Maybe it's some special Marvel crystal of some sort. But the idea is that this is a 2x2. It's not very tall. And it can fit in that spot right there behind the pilot. As for this thing, well, it's a wheeled thing. It looks like a toy ATV quad, you know, but it's supposed to be the secondary villain mobile, like when the main bad guy wants to stop flying and start driving around on the ground. This is what he uses. Yeah, this is sad for the main bad guy to be using this. It has a sticker on it though, so that adds some prestige to it, always. And it has a couple transparent pieces actually. Look at that. So yeah, you would imagine there's light coming out of it. Yeah, kind of sad. But there's actually a reason for this. There's a reason for this being as small as it is. I mean, it's useful, right? I mean, it's usable. You can put a figure on it. Okay.
So.
But the real deal here is that this is designed to fit in the trunk of the helicopter. Not even the main cargo section, but just this little area back here. So this would just come along and gobble it up, or you could deploy from the helicopter and see it fits right in this small little space here. So there we go. See, it's just there. It's not able to roll forward, but that's the explanation for why it is so small and so sad. It needed to fit there. The heroes get a small bit of wheeled transportation as well, but theirs is much, much cooler. Even though it's much simpler in its build, it's just the most modern version of a superbike fairing that LEGO does, and it has a sticker on either side to make it unique to this set, and I think it looks pretty cool. I mean, it's just a bike, doesn't have any add-ons or anything. Interestingly, there are 2 hero figures for this set, but you know, only one is going to ride it. However, the other, I don't know who specifically is supposed to be riding this, but I'm just going to do this. So you can have a passenger like so, which can kind of work in the action hero world. They're centered up just a little bit more. You know, you can imagine just balancing back there and then hopping off and doing spins, because, you know, it's a good trick, and going and attacking the bad guy and stuff like that. So technically it's a 2-person vehicle. Looking at the hero figures up close, these are the sisters, parentheses, question mark, close parentheses, Natasha and Yelena. Yelena has twin pistols, and Natasha on the left has 2 sticks. That's official. Not my words. LEGO's official description. 2 sticks.
2 sticks!
I mean, I guess it's accurate, right? Fighting sticks, right? Of course, them just being all trans light blue as they are, kind of looks like she's holding a couple of glow sticks, or maybe just lightsaber blades. Anyway, I like the print. I like the prints for Yelena, both of them, top and bottom. I appreciate the fact that the little bit of white that is on her torso is pretty opaque. Now, on camera here, up close, I think it doesn't look as good as it does in person. It's pretty close, but at least it's not too see-through. And yeah, just overall, I think they did a pretty decent job here. Would have been nice to get a little bit more color and detail maybe in Yelena's torso just because it looks so flat. But I guess, I mean, what all can I expect? Very similar alternate expressions for the two. Not identical, but similar. And there's what their faces look like and everything. Unobscured. I'm not so impressed by Black Widow's torso prints here for a movie thing. Looks a little bit more comic in style. Just a little flat, I think. Just personal opinion. And then the bad guy who pilots the helicopter and the sad little ATV quad is Taskmaster. And it's the movie version of Taskmaster that does not look nearly as cool as the comic versions or the game version or anything like that. A lot of people evidently have made fun of him for that. I'm not opposed to making fun of that version. This Lego version, I think, actually looks cooler than the movie version once I take the hood off. The hood is an interesting choice, though. It did need to be a different color. You know, it should not have been dark blue, or at least not wholly dark blue, but is black the right choice? I don't know. It doesn't look like it fits that well for any version that you're trying to represent. Maybe in the movie he'll pull out, I mean, it kind of looked like he had the bright colors on the front from the trailer, and then blue in the back. I don't know. But I think the black just doesn't look right to me. Maybe gray would have been better, just you know, if you're going to do one color. But you need to see the face here, or the head at least. I just think that looks better than the actual version in the movie. It's got a little bit of shine to it. I don't know. I think it's cooler. The print for the torso I think is fine. No print for the legs is unfortunate. No alternate face either. And finally, here are the leftover pieces, including some extra studs for the stud shooters and the spent sticker sheet. I have to tell you, as I was building this, I felt like the ratio of number of stickers to number of pieces in the set was rather high. And a lot of them feel like they could have been left off. Definitely I wanted to use the ones for the bike. Definitely wanted to use at least one pair for those gift box pieces that were used for the engines, or you know, to be the bases of the rotors. But a lot of these other ones just, I don't know, just felt like too much to me. But fortunately they are stickers, so you can just leave them off if you want. Now, let's get back to that whole 271 piece thing, because this set is sold in the US for $30 US. And that makes the price to part ratio pretty respectable given the overall size of the thing and how many larger pieces that it comes with. Is this worth $30 US though, what you actually get here? I think yes. I think that the volume of stuff here is pretty good. I think that the stuff that you pay for is usable for what it is. You know, like the helicopter has the rotors that you can spin up so freely, and that's kind of nice. I probably could have tightened this up a little bit to make it not wobble quite as much. It kind of resonates towards the end. It's just a tiny little nitpick though. But I should not have to celebrate essentially a large brick with rounded ends having usable space in the middle. But I have to celebrate that because Lego has messed up on that basic concept so many times in wasting space in the interior, especially ones that have winches where they take up like that much space, all that, just for a winch mechanism. Unnecessarily. This opens up and lets you get in there, and I would love to see a lot more of that. Overall, I mean, this thing is pretty simple, and a lot of people who spend a lot of time browsing Flickr, you know, and imagining would look at this and be like, oh, it's so toyish and so basic. But I think that it's a very smart design, actually, for 271 pieces. Probably could have been done with fewer. I'm looking around at it more after having, you know, handled it a bit after having gone through the build process. While I was building it, maybe it felt like it could have used fewer pieces, but I don't see a lot of excess here. No, the basic structure is what you get. And yeah, it's just pretty efficient. The ATV, which is actually still back in here in the trunk, is very sad, even considering what it's for and all. It will always be sad. It will always be ashamed of its own existence. but it fits in the trunk, and it does fit a person. I think that really young kids will be okay with it. This is for 7+. But yeah, I think most of us will probably not care about that. The bike is fine. The figures, I think, are fine. Not great, but pretty good. And yeah, the Taskmaster, I think, is better looking than what we've seen so far of the actual movie version of that character. Overall, I think it's a successful set for what it's trying to be. A $30 set that is solely representative of an entire Marvel movie. Yeah, I think it works out okay. The only thing that probably would have worked out better would have been too many woods in the sentence, but something that focuses just on figures, with very little vehicle focus. And obviously, it's super clear that LEGO continues to find through their very extensive research with actual kids that kids like vehicles and stuff. Otherwise, they would not be making so many. They don't make them just to make adult fans angry. They make them because they sell. And, they're a very profit-focused business. They're a very high-profit business. They're very successful at what they do. And I don't think they would make today the same mistake too many times. Would they make the same mistake multiple times? Yes. Happens. I mean, we've seen that. But would they make it this many times with as many helicopters as they've made, as many vehicle-based sets as they've made? Would they make that as a mistake this many times? I don't think so. So I think they know what they're doing, basically, a lot of the time. And this will probably sell better to the general market than something that would have been more collector focused and adult focused. Again, this is for 7+. Soapbox off. Thank you for watching, though. Hope that I showed you everything here that you wanted to see. I think from this angle, maybe you can see a little bit better how the helicopter is angled up a little bit, which is just kind of a cool thing. Forgot to mention that the gear at the front does not steer. It has little lights down beneath it, little simulated lights, but it does not actually steer. Just one little final detail. And you can see the build of this on my Pure Build channel in real time. I strongly recommend trying that and putting it on 2x speed, because it doesn't have any music. So if you just put it on 2x speed, you still hear the clicks of the Lego pieces, but it goes by so much more quickly. I think it's a better way to consume that content if you want. But I also have the speed build, which is much, much faster and does have some music to go with it. So check out one of those if you'd like. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you again very soon.
When I joined the Corps, we didn't have any fancy schmancy tanks. We had sticks, 2 sticks and a rock for a whole platoon, and we had to share the rock.